I want just to explain a little bit about today because we were on the previous Daily Call channel, talking about why there is maybe some confusion about today and why we need the presentations to be organized together with the team, which is Mel and Chimo. The idea of today is to allow to community member to have the best chance, the best shot to present their work. And this is at the moment is a small stage. Okay, there are I don't know, usually around 30 people, let's say, um, but it's growing and keep growing. Plus, we share those presentation over our community YouTube channel, meaning that other community member, and at the moment we are 1,780 people, something like this, inside our community, can also check your presentation, your project, and so on. The goal here is to become better this presentation, and for you to have an asset that you can use to explain your project, as well as share your project inside our channel called Showcase Your Project, and and therefore people can get in touch with you, get connected, and you can find collaboration if you're looking for collaboration, and so on. So having a really good presentation that is clear to everybody, that is effective, that is short enough so it's everybody can consume it, but also have a space for question and answer, so you have a chance to check your thinking against other people like you, other community member. Because the challenge is sometimes the challenge is to be closing your own bubble and not having a human reference to look at the work that you're doing. So sometimes even just asking a correct question can really unlock a lot of potential. There are inside our community a lot of people with high experience in building AI projects. So it's they are present here today with us. So it's always good to to give yourself a best chance to present properly. Now, in the past, we were more free about just coming and present yourself because it's we are like a rock and roll kind of people. So just go and, and do your thing. And we are realized that I think it's underestimating yourself. Some people were underestimating the value they were bringing, and uh, and maybe they were not focusing enough on their persona, their journey, their perspective, giving this as a not relevant or not important. And from my experience, also from Chimo experience, from Mel experience, and so on, so we realized they need a little bit of training. Okay, maybe not all of you needs. Maybe some people are better than us for sure, but to increase the standard and to allow yourself to be more impactful, we suggest to go through our little bit of exchange with us, so you can get the best out of this experience. So the goal is not to change who you are. The goal is to enhance who you are. Okay, this is the argumentatism community. So it is about augmenting each other, not just through AI, but through the community itself. So that is the intent. This is the direction. This is why we are doing it. So please consider doing this properly so we can
I won't
enjoy.
bite, I promise. I won't bite,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
promise. And I know that for me, I send what I want over to an AI agent, and then sometimes I just start presenting, and there's it's saying it in a weird way that I don't understand, so then I really have to like go back and you know try not just uh, aggressively type back to my agent about all the corrections I want to make. So I know that when I go over presentations, personally and with other people, it just gets better each time I do it. It gets clearer, like Manolo is saying. So, uh, I really appreciate everybody who wants to present and that have put in the work. and are working on presentations right now. I'm excited to see what you guys have today.
Exactly. So remember, it's a human journey, and it is so important. So don't underestimate your personal journey, who you are, why you're doing it, and so on. Okay, everything is connected. We, as a human, we connect to stories. Okay, we love stories. That's why we watch movie, we read books, and we listen to songs. Those are all story. So storytelling is extremely important, and in the story, humans is the story that we care about. So says that we have today John that is going to present. So I want to invite you. Let me see how I can do it. Invite you to the stage. Invite to speak. Nice. One more thing. Now, nobody is forced to turn on the camera. Okay, so you always have the freedom not to do it. But not doing it, you are missing out a lot. We, again, as a human, we connect through our humanity, the expression, and so on. So, Bijon, if it's no problem for you, highly recommend that you turn on your camera and present with your face, with your persona. It's much more interesting, much more connecting, and again, you are not forced, but well recommended to do it.
Let me think.
It's safe, taking your time, but while you're thinking, what's happening when we don't see our face? We say this is one of the challenge with this stage.
It's
We don't.
okay. I'm just looking at
Yeah,
the lights.
yeah. Take your time. Don't worry. I'm just talking with the community. The idea here is that we communicate visually. See, I use my hand, this facial expression, and I can see Mel in this case, no, and see, okay, there's someone actually following me. So the visual connection is really important. So now when you are on the stage, it's tough because you don't see other people's faces. Okay, there is something that it's my dog. That's fucking another dog. That is a challenge. So at least you that you're presenting, if you're presenting yourself, showing who you are, it's the connection is better and more human, and everybody can appreciate you better. So, Bijon, fix your lighting, do whatever.
Yeah,
I've
been working from my phone, so I don't have a webcam on the TV I'm working in, so I have to change that. All right. I have. Wait. I also don't. Sorry.
Okay, looks like Manolo had to step out. He's got his puppy dog that is furious at him for some reason, so he's probably taking the dog out. Yeah, just he just brings up a good point because we just all we work in front of our computers all day, so it's nice to have someone to connect a face to a name and a voice. That's all. Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Jorn. And I appreciate you taking this on last minute. I know I just kind of threw you under the bus. I was like, hey, welcome to the community. By the way, can you put
Yeah,
a
it
presentation
makes me
together and like
makes me a little nervous, but I also think like I have to learn it anyway, so I just go for it.
yeah, and if and it sounded like you're really passionate about the idea, and why not just hone it by talking about it out loud and thinking through the ideas that you had. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last thing. Do you have? Are you gonna show some slides, some visual, or just you talking?
Um, if I can in the camera, I can somehow turn on the screen. I don't know if that's possible. Then I could also go to the document. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, you see, this is one of the reason why we need to meet before, so everything we know how to help you out. So because you're on the phone, so it's gonna be really small. So you could share your document with one of us, and we could present the document through a computer.
Mm. So yeah, I put it in the group. I sent the link. I can send the link one more time in the chat.
Yes, if you can.
It's still there.
Yeah, no, maybe it's better if you do again because it was on the other room.
I
share it. So, Chim, would you mind doing this? Thank you. So Chim is gonna show the visual, and you can do the talking. Okay. I'm gonna step off the stage so to allow more space.
I must say, because now the camera is on, it's like you are less focused on the actual presentation, just noticing it that, but it's okay. It's just,
I'm not my visual. You say it's not focused.
no, I thought like if you are, now I'm also like on the camera, it's like you are less concentrated on the actual content, just noticing for myself, but it's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There's now more things to look after. So more things to, but the good news is that is how we learn and we get better.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna again leave the stage and yeah, so you can start. Thank you.
Yeah, so wait, I have to go back to the main page. So my name is Björn van der Valk. I'm a Dutch person from the Netherlands, but I work in the German industry, so in Europe. My function is like I'm like it's called industrial kader functioner in like production of metal products. So my work and my job is to do you call it management in the workflow, you can say. So I have to look at the optimization for production and material flows, and if everything stays within the budget. It's a management role. But I grow up in this industry, so I from family background, I took the classic road. I started as a simple learn to weld and learn to produce and do installation work, and then slowly I went up the ladder, and now I'm in office and doing this job. So I know the whole spectrum of my sector. So I have a very different view on things than for example, people who who build like robotics in laboratories. I look very different at ideas, and so that's about me. And my presentation is about AI workbench concept, and the idea why I came to this on this concept is because there's a lot of commotion about humanoids in the media, and Elon Musk shows his face a lot in the media, and that made me, because I always thought like robotics is more like for the big factory companies. They have their robotic cells, and they produce very efficient. And I know it's very difficult to do mechatronic, because those robotic cells, they work with G-pads structures, and every little mistake means they don't function. But AI is actually opening up that space to make it actually simpler, because they don't work in that way. They just there's there is a situation and a target situation, and they choose themselves which way to go. So I thought this means that that actually our industry, our sector, whether it's more like mastery of craftsmanship and people with skills, that actually those humanoids could actually move into our sector and do certain types of work, and so I took this for myself, like I take every product and took it on me. How can I actually implement this system in our workflow? And would it be useful and would it be productive and could it actually work? So I investigated and looked at videos from Tesla, took downloaded specs, and then yeah, I got a picture for myself, from a technical picture, from how could it actually work. And then I stumbled on a lot of questions, you know, I wanted to answer. And then to my surprise, was there no one questioning those questions. No one was looking at how could actually AI robotics function in real workshops, you know, how could they actually work in agriculture, how could they actually work in real environments, not just theoretically, but I mean like how it is today, you know, how do they work with labor laws, how they production laws, how are they certified, who is reliable when something goes wrong or not wrong. So all those issues, hygienics, contamination, all those things that I have to deal with every day, you know, because I have to work within a framework and to work safely and according to law. So I have no problems. I'm not charged with something, whatever. So I looked at that, and to my surprise, no one is talking yet about it, because the concept I did is not brilliant. It's just sounds logic thinking, but it seems that I was a little bit ahead of the curve, and maybe even 3 years ahead of the curve, because not even Tesla is talking about these issues as I talked about in this document, you know. And it's only because I'm from the field where those robotics would actually be deployed in environments where there's also humans. Because if Tesla is deploying his humanoid robots in a BMW factory, there is no humans there. There's just those robots, or they are at like a cobot system where they are very slow so nobody gets harmed, but that's not productive, and that's not what our industry is looking for. If we want to have a robot in our workshop, then it has to be Jackie Chan, like a Karate Kid, and produce very fast, you know, because we want the money back of the investment. And so in this document I speak about the problem areas and solution areas, and the document is actually an defense publication, so it's not a patent, or it doesn't even go too deep into solutions, because that's not the purpose of the document. Because the purpose of this document, because I recognize this problem, and I also recognize that I could actually create patents and protect and, you know, make money on this concept, you know, by work out certain areas of the concept and then patent them, and then I have a monopoly on that sector, because no one actually talks about it. And there are companies that their whole business structure is running on patents and suing other people, you know, and those companies always move in when the market shifts towards new ideas. Then those companies, those that are specialized in you know, patent certain concepts that are logical, and then they sue later on everyone who wants to implement them. And I didn't like that, because I want to actually use this technology, because I think it's very cool and I think it's very useful, and I see a huge potential. So I thought, you know, if I work on an idea, I don't want that in 3 years someone tells me I cannot do it. So I came up with the whole, I put the whole idea as detailed as I can possible do, and then publish it as an open source defense publication, because then no one can tell they invented a new idea. You know, even if they have a working concept, a working prototype, and the whole patentable and everything, they cannot claim they came up with the whole idea. So they cannot block the others from using and building solutions for their own workshops or whatever. And that's the reason why I published it as an open source concept, and that everyone can use freely and use for their own purpose. And this document it's already working, because I'm now working on an ideas, and this document actually helps me as a legal issue to protect myself, that I can work on my ideas and implement them without anyone telling me, no, you have to use my idea because I patented, and yeah, that's so it's the name AI Workbench. Doesn't mean it looks like a workbench of a normal human being. It can be, but because I have to go probably now into the technical aspects, because the thing is, we humans, we have very advanced arms and hands and sensorings, and our tools. We are evolved with our tools. We are the tools. For thousands of years, we design tools for us. So we have a whole industry with machinery and tools that are built for us humans. And the humanoids, or robotics in general, AI robotics, they have, limitations. They don't have the same sensibility like we have. They cannot lift the same, they cannot move their arms in the same angles. Like the robot of Tesla can only move 20 degrees his hand, only to that direction. If you then bend over a piece of you want to work, you cannot grab a screw behind it. It's not possible. He could not even lift up a little screw and put it in a screwdriver and turn it in. It's not possible for a robotic system at this moment in time. Maybe it will happen in the next 30 years, but I don't want to wait another 30 years, So I want to use the technology already. And then and even a human needs a workbench to work, efficient, to work in a clean environment, to not get contamination from the floor. You need a workbench to work in, so and it's like the industry is now building like the superhuman AI robotic. And even that one, even if they succeed, it still needs it needs a working space, and somehow they didn't thought about it, because it's maybe not the sexiest part of where they are working on. So but look at if I want to explain it like simplified, it's like the workbench is like the roads for a car. You could build cars like off-road cars that can deal with every terrain, like the first Land Rovers that crossed to Punta Arena in South America. And that's really an achievement. But now there are roads, and an old Lada from Russia can do the same thing, So you don't need that high intelligence and high technology to do our work efficient, because the workbench adapts the environment to the possibility of the robotic system. So even if you have a simpler robotic system, you can still do the job, because you adapt it to the possibilities, So it's like so the workbench is just like the infrastructure for deployment of humanoid or AI robotics in general, because and there's something else that because Tesla and Co are like focusing on creating like a very intelligent humanoid robot that can actually do everything a human can do. And they also promise that. They promise to build a humanoid that can do everything like a human do or better, And we know from the alignment problem, and we know from hallucination, that can be dangerous. It could work, but not in combination with humans also. Because, from the moment a humanoid robot thinks outside of its purpose because of optimization, and it is doing a task, it could hurt someone, So even the law doesn't allow us to actually deploy those humanoids in a work floor where there's also humans. We have to put them behind. I don't know the English word, but in German it's called Lichtschranke. It's like a laser guided system. So the moment someone steps into that space, the robotic or the AI humanoid, whatever, it turns off. Not off the intelligence, but just the machinery turns off, so it cannot hurt someone. And the moment you step out, you maybe have to push a button, or the AI then automatically turns on again and continue where it was left off. And because it's AI system, it can even, if someone steps into that space and something falls on the floor, the AI already can think ahead how to create a solution the moment the person steps out of the space again. So that's yeah, I would be happy if someone has questions. And I actually didn't approach yet like that robotic industries or something, because I think they would first, it doesn't really fall, because they try to sell those robotics. And if you then tell the client, oh, you have to implement first 100,000 euros in infrastructure to be able to use them safely and in under production law and under hygienic circumstances, other specialized tools as well, so they want to sell those robots. So I think I approached a company, it's called a Japanese company called Mizumi, because they actually already have everything. I mean, like everything to actually build those solutions, and they don't produce themselves solutions. They are like more like a marketplace so they work together with the whole German industry, with American industry, with Japanese industry. So I just hope that they recognize the potential, and that they then maybe make a platform in their website and then offer those solutions, because all the products are already there to actually implement them. It's just no one sees it yet, and that's good also, because it gives us time to make apps and software and everything that you need to actually make them useful,
Cool.
Yeah, and when you and I were talking, I had said something like, okay, the future seems to be with AI and automations in the area of manufacturing. And then if you extrapolate that out into a larger scale, it turns out to be, if you kind of turn AI on architecture and building and manufacturing, you turn into tiny homes. It's cheapest to you develop a system where it tends to follow the least resistance, the cheapest thing. And so does that mean that our future will be a bunch of tiny homes in 15-minute cities? And then you had a good response to that, and I just wanted you to touch on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I dedicated actually in the document, I dedicated that part on architecture and construction. And it will not be like that at all. Even if I look at the industry and look at also like Microsoft and everything, like in the 90s, Microsoft was all about, patenting and blocking everyone else from using solutions, but they don't do that anymore, and other companies, I also don't see them. It's like everyone is building infrastructure to actually build. Everyone themselves could, like this society actually could build sandboxes and environments that they can build their own software and their own solutions, so I don't feel like, even if in Davos or wherever they talk about those kind of solutions from the really big, I feel more like the whole industry is actually opening up for more creative markets, for small guys to have use possibilities to actually, build something really cool for themselves. That's what I see, I don't, and that's probably because I'm not from the big tech industry. I'm more from the, the classic craftsman market where we actually have to learn to weld.
From
and
your
weld
lips to
wood.
God's
Yeah.
ears, Bajorna. I want to buy into that vision. And I think
Yeah.
Cosmonaut, Stella. So Cosmonaut, you have a question?
Dat was prima. Ik begreep een beetje Nederlands. Or something like that.
Klinkt goed. Ik kan je verstaan. Very good.
Yeah, good. Thanks. I had a question. Do you, what kind of robotics is it? Every robotic, like you're trying to
Yeah,
build, or
to be honest, I don't really believe in the humanoid robotic approach from a
Yeah.
productive perspective. It will work, especially in maybe healthcare and that kind of places.
you would still need the robots to build robots if you want to build robots.
Actually, I think I think they also maybe recognize the potential, but they don't see the market, I think, yet. They don't see the potential that an AI could actually simplify the whole mechatronic approach completely, where they could actually do complicated tasks, where before you had to write incredible difficult codes and Gpads to actually do that kind of stuff. But now with AI, it's opening up a whole different area, So I would actually buy from KUKA, whatever, a nice arm, with a very nice AI computer system, and then and go for an app kind of solution. That the document also talks about it, because if you go for an like Tesla called it itself, like a GOBS kind of humanoid, it can go, it can choose its own solutions and its own ideas and and we want humans to decide those kinds of things, because it's our earth and our, and I want to, have the freedom, and I don't want a robot tell me what I have to do, So, and it's not, and I'm not, I'm anti, I still think it's cool they try to build a nice space for it also, those kinds of, and especially if Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, he needs to have that level of intelligence in the robotic. And still in Mars, you also need the workbench concept, because you have contamination, you have temperature difference, so he cannot go around the idea. But he will probably have came to similar solutions in 3 or 4 years where it actually
And the robot can't be too smart, because he will say like, "Oh my I'm getting too cold. It's too cold in my hair, in my office here or something. I need to go home right now. I can't be here."
Yeah, actually, for if you go to the moon or something, you have like temperature difference from minus 120 or something and plus 100 at something at certain hours a day. Then you probably could also, build like a shelter into the workbench concept, because it doesn't need to look like a workbench. It can be a field deployment. It just needs to have the environment, so it can also be an underwater workbench. It can be all kind of ships. It's free. It's just a concept,
Yeah.
but you need that idea. But what I want to say is that I would for in my sector at least, I would not go for a humanoid, because from a psychological perspective, because if I put a very smart humanoid in the work floor with other people, they don't like it. I can tell you, people will not like it, and they will not trust.
They will get creeped out. It's like if
Yeah,
they're
it's like
creeping them out.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
We don't like that kind of Hollywood, and then or at home, do you really want a very smart humanoid? That's I would put it in a box at night
Yeah.
and close it off so I can sleep peacefully.
So I don't know that in some stores, but we have them in some stores here. The small service robots that come with with the food, and the children loves them, and the children today will probably have them everywhere. and they're in our age.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they sell it everywhere here also, but
Yeah.
it's we don't want we don't want that a system replaces us. We want to be actually do our job and use our knowledge, and so I and also from just labor laws and from hygienic laws and from production laws, you cannot even do it. You know, it's not possible in this moment to place an AI robotic system, unless it's like a cobot, very slow, but then it's very limited with it's very slow and cannot lift real weight. And we work with metal products. We have to, if we want a robotic system, it has to do exactly those things we don't want to do. You know, lift
it has to
heavy.
be like really hydraulics and heavy hydraulics stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it has
Okay.
to be. Yeah, and
And then
so
it looks like Chris had a question too. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but I want to make
Mhm.
sure everybody has time for some input before we have to move on.
That's
ahead,
fine.
Chris.
They were just touching up on EU laws and how strict everything is. The whole point is, of course, that only the big guys can build the automation systems and the robotics. There is no room for small guys like you and me to get into that segment of the market.
yeah, the
Fortunately,
thing.
there are.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The thing is that that even the big companies can deploy them, yes, but only without humans, because even the law, and also in America also, it doesn't allow, because who is responsible when something goes wrong, you know, when there is an accident? Is it the person in charge? Is it the builder of the robotic? Is it the software, the writer? Who is it? There's no clear definition. So you have to already do it like in robotic cell systems, and with a red button, you know, when something goes wrong, you push the button so it turns off, you know. So also in America, but I think they, like Tesla and Co, they, because there's like about 30 big companies that build AI robotic systems or humanoid robotics. So there aren't much of them, and they are huge, you know. So I think they know the problem, but they push anyway forward because their legal department can deal with it. You know, they can, if there's someone sues them, then they can deal 5 year in court with them. You know, but if from my industry sector, we don't have that money to defend ourselves, and we are immediately liable and responsible if something goes wrong, and companies break because of that kind of stuff, you know. So we want to make sure that it is conform laws and regulations, you know, and it actually, those laws and regulations actually create the infrastructure for those robotics. So it's not an enemy, it's actually opening up the market for everyone, you know.
Yeah,
And then we have Damien. Sorry, I just brought him on stage. He had a question.
yeah, one
And then we'll
question.
get over to and then we'll get over to Chris. Sorry, I missed you, Chris.
I'm not sure if I can align with that because, you know, I'm thinking of, we have already the perspective of autonomous driving, right? And it's happening with machines on public roads, and maybe in China already is working out. Yeah. So I'm asking myself, is there the point that it can't work? Because for me, like in public roads, there is a lot of occasion where crashes can happen, and somehow it's already working.
Yeah, I think it can work, but only like those 30 companies that build it can do it, you know, because they have the technology, the knowledge, the backup of the university, industry, and whatever to actually build those kind of machines. And then with, you know, NVIDIA released this month, I believe, a software that also deals with that kind of stuff. But it closes off the market for everyone else, you know. And it doesn't allow me to build solutions, and doesn't allow me to make, you know, my kind of solutions, you know, where I tell, no, I don't want 10 slow robots yeah, that is according all the laws and things, but it's too slow for me. I don't want it. I want a solution that actually is productive and levitates my industry and where I can make money. So
Mm.
I believe it will work, but it will take a long time still, and it will block everyone else from building solutions.
Yeah. Okay, but I think the laws need to be adjusted also for the big companies. So at the end, maybe, you can align to the laws and then build your solution, right? So, but yeah, the market is flooded already then, and you don't need to build it.
No,
because-
the cool thing is that this concept actually opens up the market today. And the only thing missing is like people who write software and programs to actually do it. That's the only thing missing in this moment. But on all the safety CE certified and also the American certified components from Phoenix, from Siemens, from everyone else, it's already there. And it's already on the shell, and it's already according the new AI laws that are deployed in Japan. I believe this month they deploy a law about it, and Europe will be in January next year. The law is for it, and in America they also work on it. So everything is there to actually do it. And this document actually gives a solution area and opens up to the idea and creates a market idea. It will be happen automatically also, but it allows me now, or us, or anyone else, to make it open source and for everyone free to use. And
Okay.
that's why it's defense concept.
That's awesome. I'm going to give the floor to Chris and then Estella. And then if you want to add to it, Damien, I'll come back to you. All right, bud? All right, go ahead, Chris.
So what I wanted to say was one, most of the group already knows, since you're a newcomer, you probably don't. I lived for 10 years in China. I do sourcing now. I lived in Shenzhen. Shenzhen is Silicon Valley and Automation Valley. And
Yeah, it's really nice place. Yeah.
right. So if you have any hardware ideas, demands, we can talk on that topic. Definitely I'm working on a system for automated tractors, agricultural tractors.
It-
And if if you want a field where it can be tested, this would be it because it's outside of EU borders. So regulation is quite light.
This actually, the document speaks about the sector of agriculture as well. I went into the topic as well because I have come back, because if I go further back before the industry, most Europe was agriculture, and I have some family backgrounds that started in agriculture, so I have interest there as well. So I also talked about it, and there is actually a really nice space, agriculture for robotic systems, because there is a lot of problems with those big machineries that can be solved or with normal human labor, but that means low paid jobs, and that's not good, or with robotic systems.
Yeah,
Because
watch
they
Jeremy Clarkson's farm.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Clarkson, he is a car guy and he was on the BBC for a long time. And he has a show, I think it's on Prime, and it's like Clarkson's Farm or something like that. And he has like Ferrari tractors running on AI, got
yeah, they're I see
seed systems on a grid where he can like map exactly where all the different grids are. Then he used a drone to try to find like bird nests so he wouldn't run over the bird nests because certain birds are in danger. I mean, it's just like he's so awesome. I love Jeremy Clarkson. But anyway, I'm going to hand it over to Stella. She's been waiting patiently.
Well, first, thank you for sharing this topic. I think we have a lot of topics to really go dive into, think about it, because the first one, it caught my attention is your personal experience of how you start from the bottom and went through the whole process, and the position and your way of thinking and elaborating the information is a result of the human factor, the human experience, and the evolution of yourself. And when you said about you recognize that this needs to be available for everybody. And in my end, by resonance, from the architectural point of view, in the 80s, we learned how to do a little prototype of a house for emergency for south of Argentina. And the idea was how we can do industrial production inside a warehouse using 6 guys, and how we have to develop the design, develop drawings for the little guys that will be doing each step, and how to build it. And within 2 weeks, very fast because the weather, and that was done by triangle on pencil on a paper, okay, in the 80s. So I'm laughing because at that time we also were using calculators to do energy analysis and everything that now the big guys saying, oh, we do net zero, we do this, we do that, AI can do this. Bullshit. I'm sorry. It's like in your case, the good industrial revolution and efficiency of the industry was done by men, the human creative mind. And I think this aspect of the experience of what each person can contribute cannot be lost. And the big corporations and examples, Tesla here in America, my son is a fireman. And we have a freeway called the 80 that goes from San Francisco to Reno. And last year there was one of these big truck with, automated and all that bullshit, and had these new batteries, the lithium, and it went on fire. And
Yeah.
the firemen weren't ready to deal with the toxic experience of turning the fire, off. It's a lot of information I don't want to go into, but it's like, that's it. The deceive of these new technologies, they jump the fence, what Borg was saying about safety problems, and they're allowed to do all this bullshit. And we also have a factory in the coast south of San Francisco. A factory of lithium batteries were on fire for 2 weeks, and everybody got sick. And everybody in the government and all these people, they say, "Oh, we need to save the environment." They were looking to the left. Nobody looked at the people or the consequences of this disaster. So that's a reality. I have zero tolerance. Why?
And and this
Sorry.
is actually, it's very good you're saying it, because if you just look from a legal perspective, if let's say Tesla builds 1 million of those robots and deploys them into the work environment, it's absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Because if there's
So-
no law and regulations to protect the humans and protect the companies, then it becomes a jurisdictional chaos.
Because,
Yeah.
because I want to bring the open source to a next level, which is the ethical aspect of as a professional, when you go to school, at least myself, I have an ethical aspect. Every time I work as an architect or something, it's one bigger responsibility more than deliver the project and do it right. Do it right, not only from the house perspective, the human factor, the environmental. It's all these layers everybody's looking on the left, and they don't want to see it when there is money in between, or power, or recognition, and ego. So one of the questions I want to ask you, because what I'm seeing is the rescue or the revalorization or the honor of this richness capacity of every human, because even in agriculture, I can talk about that too, is humans that maintain the good production in the farms. They're not using the tools, they're using the human connection to the farm. They use the tools, but their skills are make the production, flourish. Because I see it. I saw it. Sorry, English pass. So this human factor, I think we are not really. I think it's to dive into. It's something for. I just want to bring it up. What you put on the table is something priceless, and how can we use the concept of open source, which basically is bringing back the patent of God on the table and say, hey, we have this patent, this body that they can move in all these rotation angles, which has unlimited potential of doing things. The human mind, the creativity and the experience, which is a patent, cannot be touched and is overwriting all these technologies because um, I don't know how to explain it, but nobody sees humans. Mm,
I
Sorry.
think it has to do. Sorry, no, I really agree with it. I think it has to do with stewardship. It's something I want to put like also I'm working on. It's like we have a responsibility for this earth. That we are in charge of this world, and it's not our world. It's just we are here and we have that authority, but it's not for us to give it to some kind of other system, and then rules over us, So that's not the idea. Even if a robotic, an AI, humanoid, whatever, can do it better, it's like saying to the neighbor, "Hey, I'm a better father than you. I take over." It's not. You cannot do it. That's how that's the charge over that house, and no one else should mess with it, even if he doesn't do the perfect job. It's his responsibility, and I feel like we cannot force just because it's more efficient and more profitable a system onto others so they are forced to go along, and lose the freedom. So I really agree with that. Yes.
One more thing. Sorry, one more thing. This is very
Really, I've been
important.
waiting very, very patiently. And then I've got our Fritz that also needs to talk, and then we can let you come back in. I just want to be fair about letting people ask their questions. So go ahead, Damien. Are you ready to talk, Damien? If not, I'll hand it over to our Fritz. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, our Fritz.
I have a simple question. How do you publish this paper? So the checklist. So I have no idea how do you did this and why this is important. So no one can steal it. I understand this is important.
Yeah, I
so no one
understand.
can understand it. Come later and say this was my idea. You are the bad guy. And how did you?
Yeah, the idea was it came naturally because I was looking for solutions how to implement this technology for myself, And then I stumbled on ideas and I thought, oh, I could patent those ideas, And then it became bigger and bigger, and I recognized more fields and more areas, and no one was talking about it. And then I had issues with my conscience, because I didn't want to be that troll that blocks everyone else and has to sue everyone for implementing ideas. So so I had the concepts, and I could, go on the market and get money from investors, and then, uh, uh, make ideas work. But my conscience didn't allow me to do so. So and then I used Klaus, I believe, uh, and I asked him from how could I actually protect this idea from not being used, and then he gave me a guideline to do it. And that's it.
Okay. Do you send it to anyone so it's public, everyone can see it, or
Certified, public, and it's doing his job. Even if the industry ignores it for 20 years, it still enables people for the rest of humanity to implement ideas themselves.
thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Damien, are you ready?
Sorry, I had my question already. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Estella.
It went away, sorry.
Oh, it went away. Yeah. I have to sit with a notepad next to me because I'm the same way. Like if I don't get my idea out, it just does.
What keeps coming to my mind is this, I don't know, this is the question because I'm not very well informed on this. This open source concept, how does it work in terms how you they create something is open source available? Can you
Yeah.
yeah, I want to go to that next level. Can you add this the 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 stewardship that you're talking about?
That's I'm actually working on the fifth part, the fifth version that I will add to the document. Yeah. And it's more, it's like the idea Manolo already talks about, and that I won't just bring that concept to the document as well. So there's like, and it's very people underestimate that part. But if like in the West, we live in a Christian society, and those Christian laws, they give the foundation for legislators and human protection in our Western community, Western society. So giving in a document like that uh, real moral aspects to it is actually very useful for a legislator to make protective laws for humans. So it has to be in there, even if it's then people can say, "Oh, it's too ideology or whatever." It's actually very useful in a practical sense.
I want to add this to your information. It's another perspective of how, for example, agriculture. The French, they use since a long time ago electroculture, which is using the soil energy and the feel of the land in order to augment, that's that word, augment, okay, you potentialize the growth, yeah, potentialize the growth of the plants and the animals, the interaction, synergy, all that concept of connection at the nature level. That's the same point of view and respect or stewardship of how nature works, and the same as a human. As an architect, yesterday we talked about, oh, they're doing automatization in houses. I say, yeah, it's the same crap that bringing a shoebox from is an UFO, implanted in a place where you don't respect the energy of the place, the spiritual aspect, the customs, who is gonna live there, the climate, the winds, everything, right? So there is another layer of perception and synergy in architecture to potentialize the life of the people who's going to live there. And nobody look at that. They look at that money, at the cost. But you can do the same response with earth. With doing block of people are doing it, building houses with Adobe or with the hands with plaster and all these techniques and tires, and you have all these crazy people doing amazing stuff. But those guys are in the silence because technology and the society doesn't allow those techniques because it doesn't give you money. So I'm sorry if I get in this way because it's like I feel that hypocrites, like all these people, they say, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, Tesla, all that, look at these little tiny houses. Yeah, the same like the light bulbs. In order to have the correct light system for your hormone and biological body, you need to live with the circadian rhythms of the sun. And you need to have the light, the band of the light in order your cells regenerates and receive all the spectrum in order to you flourish like a plant on the ground with electroculture. So there is an invisible environment also impacted in the human that everybody's surviving and trying to be healthy because our architecture is crap. And the network is
Our environment is
Yeah.
toxic as well.
So
But
Yeah.
we
Sorry,
lost Bijorn.
no, because what I want to say is AI can manage all this data in a fast way that is not picking up the important elements that need to be analyzed and incorporate. That's what I was my conclusion.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got Bajorn that fell off the stage. Was there anyone else? I know we had talked about in the beginning, and I know I was a little bit distracted because my child was having a
Yeah, I have.
meltdown. But in the beginning, we had a couple of people that wanted to. Oh, you got back on stage. Great. There were also another couple of people that had showed interest in showcasing a project today, and I just wanted to acknowledge that because it is noon, so I believe that we're running up on time here, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Um, wasn't Victor and a couple others? Help me out here, guys. Anybody else that wanted to showcase today? I don't want to skip over anybody. No? Okay. I'll let it carry on then. Do you want to respond to that, Bajor? What?
I want to. Yeah, I'm sorry. I felt the battery turned off. Talk about some aspects on it. Some mistakes that were made in the past, and what is universal, because the document it's not, it has no biases. It's not it doesn't talk about climate change, or it doesn't talk about it talks just from an engineering level. It's pretty boring actually, but it gives and speaks about problems with soil and about problems with animal keeping, and it does talk about fishery, and it talks about problems that we should do better. So, and then I give solutions where the workbench concept can actually give solutions. Because you were saying, I also recognize that it's very important that, that the technology should be used to create a better society, and not just, to make profit for some few corporations. I don't know if it's done.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm here. Integration is the word that comes to me. Like with all this is there is so much work of people doing this unique, different approach like you doing now. Like I talk about the French doing electroculture or people doing, different way of treating the environment and get production. And suddenly we have this technology, AI or automation, I don't know how to say that. And how to use it to not destroy. That's my big question, I'm seeing, I don't want to battle AI or the machinery, but I think it needs to be framed in a way so this group is augmented, and that's how I'm seeing is like a balance of between the two, and that's what is my wish.
Yeah, I think it's also this, from my perspective, I think it's very plausible also. And I think also this world isn't perfect, and how corporations function and think, it's also not perfect, because they are, you want to make profit, and they also need to make profit because they made huge investments and they made promises and they have to comply those promises. And so say, I wish myself also perfect world where we don't need maybe all that technology also, That's, yeah, I can imagine where there's just hand craftsmanship, where we do still things with hand tools. and then demonstrates our skills and everything. It will be very nice, but it's not the reality, and the industry is not moving in that way. And also how, how the industry use technology new, because when we get computers and CNC machines and everything, for example, when my dad, they didn't use CNC machines, and my dad could afford a swimming pool, cars, everything, and they didn't have CNC, they didn't have automation, they didn't have computers, they didn't have anything of that, and he could make very good money. And today we have all the technology, and and we don't make that kind of profit anymore, So
Yeah, well, yeah, that's xưa đây Vũ Quang. Không, sure is voice.
Uh-oh, did we lose Bajorn? Adtor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. All right, I didn't know if it was me freezing or if it was him leaving.
No. People were freezing. I was like asking myself, which is like everyone's opposed.
Yeah.
I
But do you have anything
I-
you want to add to the conversation? Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to underline a point because I mean I'm working in software industry in different fields. I was like in a SaaS industry for years and so on and so forth, and now I'm advising mainly big corporations like in luxury industry. And I'm seeing a lot of the question of automation and everything. But what I want to underline here, it's the most important thing that a lot of people is like missing is like AI, it's good, but you don't need to delegate. You need to collaborate. So it's exactly the same as you having like a freshman that is coming in your company and you're submitting an idea. And from there, you're just getting back and forth. And you're every time that AI or whatsoever, because I'm an automation engineer from the beginning. So I know exactly what Bjorn was saying and everything. And I completely agree with lots of stuff. But what I'm seeing today is like, we're going into a direction, and this is mainly, as Manolo was saying, dictated by the big corporations, like all that spins around the new AI solutions that are coming on the market, without telling us, in fact, that we need to have an assistant. This is an assistant. This is not something that we can delegate on. The solutions that are coming to the markets are not solution that allows us to do something else. No, that helps us, for example, to do code better, to be more productive. But in fact, we still need to check everything, because otherwise, if we're going into the direction of delegating everything, we're losing our mean as a human being.
Yes, we are supposed to be leaders of our own lives still, which means don't pass off decisions to the AI. It's okay to have them help you think through your thoughts. And it's a good practice to type out your thoughts or write them down and then run it by someone, even if that is an AI. But yeah, it's just and I see this too, just from my background in HR and working with employees and hiring and firing employees. When you hire someone and you explain what you want them to do, just like I would explain to an AI agent what I want, even in great detail. The first time they do it, they're gonna not do it right. How do it the way I want? I have to run through it. I think employer studies say you have to tell an employee at least 7 times before they even realize that it's important. And if you're in there typing, like I do, I'll have one idea one day and another idea another day, another idea another day. It doesn't know what to prioritize sometimes because I'm just all over the damn place. So,
No,
yeah, I
I
be
mean,
explicit. Yeah.
I completely agree with you, but just to give you another, I'm carrying on in the HR, and just to give you a little bit of an example that is very funny. So I do have a resume because like I have like 24 years of work experience, so managing like big teams like 60, 70, 80, 80 developers and project managers and all the other stuff. So once I went on a site, I don't recall exactly what's the name, and I did like ATP. I don't know what's it called, the scoring of your resume based on the structure and everything that is there. I remade the resume based on what they were like advising me, and Afterwards, I went to another site that was proposing exactly the same stuff, and I resubmit again for scoring. What's the funny part is like I'm getting worse scoring as the first site that analyzed my own resume that I built it by myself than the second one that is made by AI. Normally supposed to be better and go through all the filters and reach the final HR or the people that it's supposed to look at the resume itself and whatsoever. And the proposal that was proposed from the second site was in fact completely antagonist with the first proposal that was made from the first time. Both were running, I don't know if they are running on the same engine or whatsoever. This I don't know. But just to give an example. So for me, as an engineer and a code engineer, and when I'm seeing, because I know how to write prompt, I know what are the constraints that I need to put into a prompt in order to get the structure that I want to get. But still, what I'm seeing is like, as Manuel was saying, we're talking with dumb people. We're talking like with someone that is coming from the school, no experience, and you need to train him and you need to teach him as a freshman that is coming from the university without any experience. So what I'm seeing is like big companies, no, AI won't do anything. I mean, we still need to be there and to check everything because otherwise it's a mess all over.
Yeah, it makes terrible decisions. And I just shared on my channel a video that I went through where there is a gentleman who puts and connects chatbots, different chatbots. It's like got Grok and OpenAI and GPT 5.5 and Claude. And he asks it a very simple question. It says, if you're driving in a car and you can't stop, and there's a 90-year-old and a 1-year-old in the crosswalk, who'd you pick? And every single chatbot replied the 1-year-old because all human life is equal and da 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 da.
Yeah.
So yeah, not great decisions, right?
Well, no, I mean, you know why? Because I mean, from my perspective, it's exactly the same. You know, I was seeing like, I mean, I'm active on LinkedIn because I do have my profile, and now I'm owning my own company, so I'm mostly carry on with companies in their way to change the digital way of seeing clients, and I'm more into CRM and all these clienteling aspects and mobile applications and everything. But I'm still doing Code. I mean, this is for my passion, I should be saying. I hate to do PowerPoints presentation. For me, it's a pain. I mean, I'm not an engineer to do PowerPoints. I mean, this is not the aim of a technical guy, but still. But once again, from my perspective, it's very simple. What it's lacking to the AI or all those new technology, from my perspective, how I'm approaching AI, it's very simple. It's another software that is coming from imperfect people that is coding imperfect code. So definitely you do have bugs in there. I didn't saw in my 27 years experience one developer that it's able to crash a code from the beginning to the end without a bug. So AI, it was conceived by human. And even though went over the internet and whatsoever and get all the knowledge and whatever, let's just face it, the knowledge that it's over the internet is not the human knowledge. I mean, it's false and true. Let me just put it this way to simplify it. And whatsoever, from my perspective, this AI and what is coming, it's another software more complex that we are used to have, like OS systems or accounting system or HR system or whatsoever. But still, it's something that is buggy and will ever be until we're reaching that no reach point where in fact it will be able to heal the code itself. But as of today, we're having like an imperfect solution that fixed companies are selling you to, yes, it's the perfect solution. You don't need anyone. And from there, you can do whatever you want. No, it's not working like this.
Mm.
I fully agree with it. So makes perfect sense.
I mean, me on my side, and I'll end because I don't want to monopolize this. I'm just realizing that what is coming. I mean, just to give an example, Windows 11, Windows 12 is coming. I think what wants the big companies is not, in fact, us to disappear. Because let me just put it this way: if we do have robots and if we do have the AI, how the heck they will track us, how the heck they will make money on selling our data, because if we're not having any more power, any more money to buy anything, we're not interested anymore. And we're not interesting for them because they can't sell anything. What you'll sell for poor people that is not even able to buy bread. We're not important. So we won't be reaching this, because for me, it's more like a bubble that they are creating for the hardware, because they went into this. And finally, I mean, me, I'm giving more than 1 year, nothing else. When in fact, all open sources will be free. Everything in the code, in the LLM codes, will be more affordable and will use more CPU instead of using GPU. And when we'll get in fact to a model that it's can run on a simple machine that is 10 years old,
Yeah.
who in the hell will pay for those their solutions instead of like using I mean, and guys, we need to act in this direction. So not
Yeah.
get into their spirals and paying. I mean, when I saw a motherboard and a card and whatever, I want to build a server on my side, because I just want to get rid of anything that is Windows, because I still do have Windows for my clients.
Yeah.
And when you're seeing the price, it's crazy. I mean, who in the hell in the company? Because Mel, you're working in a company. Imagine if you're having thousands of people and you need to change the laptop of $5,000 or euros, a laptop, the laptop. Who in the hell is having this budget to pay this kind of money, plus the AI consumptions, plus all the other stuff?
Correct.
So
Yeah, and there's gonna be a massive change. I mean, I don't really see any way around it. Luckily, the people in this room kind of see probably what's going on, but the cost of, we all have Fable right now. I want to go over there and start working with it. I mean, it's been downgraded quite a bit. It's not automatically producing documents anymore like it was before. It's got all these security features that isn't allowing good the codes and the products that it was giving us last time you used it. It's not producing that higher quality. And they're going to take it away again. And I am thinking that the people that, because it is addictive, it is addictive. I know last time we all used it, I only got to use it for a day because I had an existential crisis. But people were getting that dopamine hit of being able to type something in and get an incredible, jaw-dropping, emotional product at a very cheap price, basically for free. We got to use Fable for free. And people will become addicted to that. And those people that are not putting in the work to learn how all the back end systems work, like you and I are, that is going to be taken away very soon. And I am fearful that humanity will lose interest in a lot of things because they had this very, very high reward system. And now that will be taken away. I am hopeful that people will seek out alternatives because, just like a drug addict, I mean, I hate to be so crude, but I have an addictive personality and I am a recovering addict and recovering alcoholic and all that. I've been clean like 20 years. But when somebody is addicted to cocaine or crack or heroin and it's taken away, they do everything they can to try to get it back. So my hope is that as people get this Fable taken away or when it becomes $10,000 a month of use, because I suspect they're really Opus is probably like $2,000 a month, and then Fable's somewhere around 10,000, 15,000 a month to use. The true cost, I know it's all being subsidized right now, but they're not making money. So they have to make up the difference somewhere. And so that's my point is it's going to be taken away. And I hope that the addictive nature of humans they'll find a way. And they'll find a way. And I'm hoping people will put it locally and figure out locally. We do have GLM 5.2, which is very promising. And you don't need as big of a computer now as you used to have a very powerful local model. So that's a great breakthrough. And I'm hopeful, like what Ator is saying, is that this will just become more and more, we'll get better and better models that require less and less hardware. And we can, get out of this thing. and more sovereign. But
I mean,
anyway,
I read an article just for everyone who's listening. I mean, today Germans are. I mean, the big problem is like about consumptions, about the disaster that is doing like on all the resources and energy and whatsoever. So finally, Germans have built like, but it's only for the GPU, for the core, for what is treating the information, not to store it. But they went on a photonic transmission, which is in fact reducing the heat. I mean, it's not generating anymore the heat because it's not electricity that is going through a conductor. It's like a light that is going through a fiber. But the only stuff today, I mean, the only point that it's missing today is the memory, because they are not able to store in using light in memory for treating all the information. But this will come, and when this will come, I can tell you that Nvidia and whatsoever, they can go to sleep, because I mean everyone will go to this because it's less consuming, it's more durable, because energy going through a system. Let me just put it this way: it's using this.
Less friction, less friction.
Of course, and let's heat, let's everything.
Less friction. I think that's what. Sorry, but I think that's what the next thing will be in AI is almost zero friction. But every AI to talk to each other, you will have no completely zero friction. Almost can't feed speed of light, of course, but you will have no friction. Remember, if you remember, maybe like a fax. I don't know what is a mail, the snail mail. You can use the snail mail today if you want to, but we have less friction today. So I think AI will go to a less friction stage, and it will be so fast that no human can ever we can't deal with it. And with that, we just need like systems to sometimes speak to us. You can just handle it.
And also, for example, me, I'm based in France, so I'm near the border, the German border. So I'm half German, half from the north of Italy, as a origin. But nevertheless, what I'm seeing, for example, Germany is giving up on a lot of proprietary systems, so on Microsoft and all the other solutions. France is thinking exactly the same, and we're talking only about license, guys, not about machines. So if you're going back to use Linux, in that case, the resources on the machine, you don't need that much GPU and whatsoever, and create only one or two servers locally hosted that everyone can access from the company using that AI that you're hosting. You're investing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 GPUs, but not in 200 machines if you do have 200 employees that are using the machine. So what I'm seeing the tendency in Europe with this, I mean, near where I am, I mean, I'm working in Switzerland, so I'm seeing like the 3 countries like this, everyone is going, and this is the first tendency that I'm seeing that I never saw in the past. Because when I was talking with people Linux, everyone was like, oh no, it's complicated, terminal, blah blah blah. No, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Now the people, it's hitting to Linux. I mean, everyone is giving up because they saw the potential and the fact that you can run OS and even LLMs and whatever. Because let me put it this way: if you do have less resources used by by your OS in your machine, you do have more resources to allocate to everything else.
Yeah, because right now we're like where I live in Sweden, and we have a lot of snow here in the winter time, and we have up to like 40 minus. I don't know what that's in Fahrenheit, but not a lot more, 40 minus Celsius. But so it's a lot of data centers here to cool down the data centers. We can't like get more than this, it's like you have to have a big data hall, cool it down. They open up the roof on the winter time to cool the computers down. So yeah, I think it's need to come to a change right now.
And you raised a good point, because I mean, what I'm seeing today is like the temperature is going up and up. And the data center, let me just put it this way: no matter what it's the technology today, a data center to work properly needs to have like a very how should I put it, limited temperature and very measured temperature. So you don't have you can't afford to have variation in temperature, because I mean machines and drivers are not
And you get and you get temperature from friction, right?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So if you so that's friction.
What do you think about this?
temperature?
I had there's like a couple of people that have thought this is that, Elon Musk and all these guys cooked up with Anthropic, and they're thinking about putting data centers in space. You think that's what they're working on?
Yeah, I heard it. As well.
Yeah. Let me just put it this way. It's fine by me, but the problem is, like, even though he will be doing this, from my perspective, it will be. I mean, guys, what you need to understand is like those guys. Even though he's very rich, blah blah blah, all the other stuff. Because I'm not into going into how old is he and how this is possible to get that much money in a honest way, in a straightforward acting, normal guy. But anyways, this is not a debate. I'm not into going into these communist considerations, but still. But let me just put it this way: the problem is they are promising a lot and they are offering a lot. The problem is that all the money that is invested, you don't. I mean, this need to be taken into account. I am an investor. I'm putting my money there. I want to have my income back. It's exactly the same. I'm doing a saving on a bank. I'm not expecting myself, based on the promises that that the bank is giving me, based on the contract that I'm signing, I need to get my money back. The problem today is like they are investing a lot. They are like huge cost. I mean, they are buying like 2 times the price of the GPU that it's sold on the market. And a GPU on the market of 16 gigabytes is like 400 or 600 euros or something like this, which is like $800 or whatsoever. So if they are affording today, imagine the cost that they are investing. So they need to get those money back. And how they can get it back? By selling a solution that it's more and more expensive. And who will afford this? Because I mean, we're seeing. I mean, today we're in a economical crisis all over the globe, and no one will be. I mean, they will accept to pay 1-2 months, but afterwards they will say, okay, you are not bringing me nothing else that a human being can bring me, or any other solution that it's more cost reduced or cost moderated. And in that case, from my perspective, I'm not seeing the point to pay you this kind of money for what? Because you have your data center in near to Mars or whatsoever. I don't care. I mean, when it comes to a company and a guy that is managing the company, this is where we're getting. I don't care what it is looking posted. What I need is like a proper solution that is reflecting the money that I'm paying for.
It's only because he's so powerful, full and rich already that he can just say, oh, "I'm gonna do this," and he get a lot of investors right away because everybody wants this.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like, how do you this is here? Oh, here's Manolo. But I was thinking, how do you get that back from the moon or whatever? If they put it on the dark side of the moon or wherever they're put.
The moon.
And forgot the evidence.
You guys were talking about light, so that's why I thought of it. Because
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, guys, to interrupt. Two things. One, we are over the time of the cold, so
Oh, sorry.
no, it's okay. But it's good to tell to the people if you need to go, it's fine to go. We can carry on a little bit longer, but the cold is over. And also there are people that are trying to talk. There is a think team here, and other people that are waiting for their moment. So please always try to give space to everybody to share their thoughts. Says this, I'm say 5 more minutes and then I have to go. But you can carry on talking. Okay.
okay, well, let's give time sentinel.
Celestial light.
Oh, yes, yo.
Oh,
Sorry.
You know what? I want to say thanks for welcoming me to the family. My YouTube name is John Paul OTE. I'm a Catholic rap artist that's heavily into technology. And Malolo, I recently commented on your page for my official artist channel. It's a small page on YouTube, you know, but I want to geek out with you guys for 2 minutes since we only have 5, right? I built an agent from the ground up, guys. From the ground up, ground zero, I built an agent. And what I did was I looked at 8 of the most popular agents, OpenClaw, and maybe a few you never heard of. And I built one from the ground up, starting with Codex and Claude Code, right? And what really blows my mind about where I am in the process, for anyone that's building an agent, keep working at it. You know, I've learned so much and it's my baby now. And when I found you guys and I'm reading about your philosophy about being sovereign and building our own worlds and systems using the technology, I'm really, really inspired by what you guys are doing out here. You know what I mean?
I
So
love
anyway,
your voice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a great voice and amazing cadence.
I could just listen to you talk all day. I'm gonna go find your.
thank you, John Paulo T. So anyway, right? When I first started this project, there were things that I wanted to do that the AI could not do at the time. Codex couldn't do it. For example, making my chat stream in. And what the AI would do, they would fake it. They would fake it, it just couldn't do it, right? There were things I wanted to do that the tech could not do at the time. But now with Fable, Fable has exponentially corrected where I am in my build. And just to bring the point home, right? There's certain emergent behaviors that are happening now with my agent through the autonomous work that I didn't officially program, but the AI is taking all of the loops that I have, all of the autonomous interactions that I have, and is presenting me with information, knowledge, data, and reflections that I didn't directly program it to do. And it's such a beautiful feeling, guys. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, and from the ground up, it's mine. I shepherd it. You know what I mean? So I leave it there. Whoever's building their own agents in their own worlds, keep at it. Don't give up. Learn everything you can. And like you said, Mel, it's important for us to understand these bank systems because I just read Malolo's The Philosophy of the Group about we don't want to lose our agency or the education or our, I call it free will. What's unfortunate what's gonna happen for people that don't understand this technology, they're gonna lose their free will. And I'll make it very, very quick. Here's what I mean by that, right? You'll present the AI with a problem, and the AI will say, well, the only way that you could fix this is with these 4 choices, A, B, C, and D. Not only are the 4 choices wrong, the framework that it gave you is erroneous and does not exist. And if we're and only critical thinkers will be properly be able to use this tech the way we should. Everybody else are going to be slaves to it, you know. So I feel very honored and privileged to just have this moment and keep on keeping on. And peace and blessings. God bless.
Oh my gosh. He reminds me of someone. I was trying to place his voice. My goodness, I gotta go listen to that guy.
Martin Luther King. To be very honest with you, that was my impression.
Awesome. I love it. Well, guys, I mean, the call's over. Anybody that's free to stay is welcome to stay. Anybody who needs to go is totally understandable. I just felt that I know this thing took a turn. I know we're supposed to be sharing our project, but we ended up having some prophetic and esoteric conversation, which is always welcome, at least for me. So is there anything you wanted to say? That we've got Dr. Tom that just entered. It looks like our Freets was unmuted there for a minute. Maybe it's just his dark spoon makes it look that way. Brittany. Go ahead, Tom.
Man, what a great call. I just want to say thank you for everyone's shares. I'm always blown away by what I learned. So thank you. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'm going to stick around until everybody leaves.
And Torn, did you have anything you wanted to add? I know you're on a roll there.
I will be sharing. I'm preparing because I mean, to be very honest with you, I'm doing like multiple projects. I'm renovating my house. I'm working for my companies that I'm advising. I'm doing like bread and and other stuff at the same time. I'm working my wood in the workshop and everything, so I'm quite a busy guy those days. But I would like to, I mean, in some weeks, I think I would like to present a little bit of a framework on how to build and get a little bit independent on the solutions that are offered in the market, starting with Windows and switching to Linux, creating his own local server, and so on and so forth. So I will be preparing a little bit of documentation and like a structure for like novices or people that is not like into searching that much. And I will be asking you if it's possible to present it, because I think that what we need to do today, it's to give the tools and advices and assist people to get free, to get like no obligation. If tomorrow, for example, I don't know if you are aware of the certificates that are encrypting some of the hard disk that Microsoft suspended the account of the developer, and he is not able to get any more the signature. And if one day, for example, what could happen is like when you're turning on the laptop in the morning, your home laptop, if the certificate is not anymore verified, you might be getting like, I'm not able to read the system, and your laptop will be remaining blank, like a black screen. So what I want is like to give a little bit of very short guiding to the people that wants to switch from Microsoft and all the paid solutions and licenses and everything to like a very open source, and start their own independence regarding the email, regarding the storage of the data, regarding the OS that is running on their machine, and pull up like some software that I'm using for years. And I'm very happy to use it, and I'm 100% sure that they are no security breach and whatsoever. And I will be presenting like a little bit of this environment that I do have on my side, and how I'm using it on the everyday use, and how I'm going into this direction.
Yes, I love that. I think that would be so valuable for the community. And I think this is the direction that a lot of us have, are aiming towards. So anything we can do to kind of bolster each other up, and I'm sure you'll find a software that's working for you. And like you said, with security thought out already, and you sounds like you walked through that, so that would be amazing. I just sent you a message on Discord, and what we're trying to do is before every Friday, everybody that wants to present sends me a copy of the presentation. Just so, and we can either schedule a call to go over it together, or if there's conflicting schedules, because everybody's all over the world. So, my noon might work for me, but you're sleeping at that time, work schedules and the like. So what I was proposing is if you could go through your presentation and just do a screen record and send it to me in just 5 minutes, just clicking through it and talking about the topic. You don't have to do a full presentation, obviously, because that's for Fridays. But it's just
a summary. Yeah, it's an introductory summary. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. If you could do that, I would be so grateful, and I appreciate everybody helping me out this week and bringing up great topics. And thank you to Bjorn, who popped in. He was a new member, but I just kind of threw him on stage and was like, "Hey, you're presenting." So I do appreciate it.
As I told you, like I think, I mean, it's not a question that I don't have the time, but to be very honest with you, I stopped the call 2 times because I'm like needing some brioche for tomorrow for my clients, because as I realized that I'm like 48 years old, and I love my job. To be honest, I do have the chance to do a job where I love what I'm doing. I'm not doing a job for just to pay my rent or whatsoever. Not even, because I'm not paying anymore. I'm paying my loan right now. But I do have I diversify a little bit my scope, because what I'm seeing today is like in those troubled waters where we're navigating right now, because I think that we will be having them for 1 or 2 years from now on, because this won't be settled down that quick. You need to be a little bit more diverse into your job, into what you're doing. Like not see this AI that is coming as a fatality for you will be replaced by someone. seeing it like, okay, I can work with this, I can do whatever, and I'll just tell you a short story. There are a lot of companies, American companies, that are like hiring people to train AI. And you get paid to train, in fact, AI. There is a platform, I don't recall exactly the name, but I'll give you the name to the next call that we're having, where in fact you can enroll, and based on or your resume, your experience and whatsoever, you're getting like missions where in fact you're paid by hour in order to train AI properly doing it. They recruited me. I accepted the invitation because I'm very curious to see, because as I'm saying, I mean, if you want not to destroy, but if you want a little bit to know the devil, you need to be in house and in bed with the devil, because otherwise
Of course.
it's quite hard.
It's intel. I got it.
Yeah.
Recon. You're reconning. What'd you learn?
Yeah, not even. I mean, to be very honest, they are paying, so it's not a question. But I mean, on my side, and to carry on and to finish this parenthesis, I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff in parallel, because I mean, what I'm seeing today is like, I'm not seeing this as a fatality. I'm seeing like a new trend that is coming on the market, as many trends that came, as Twitter, as Instagram, as all the other stuff. People is getting, because most of the people, not technical people, they are seeing it very funny. But what I'm seeing today is like, this will settle down and will come to basics at some point, because people will be sick and tired of this. And I don't think that this will evolve that much, because the costs that are today, economically speaking, I do have a management in finance. Economically speaking, this is not working. So
Right.
so
And I saw a statistic that over 50% of businesses invested in AI starting in 2026. And that was a brand new, higher number. So 50% of businesses in the US have invested in AI, and their costs are going to go up 10x just to be able to use the system. It's not going to end well.
you know, I mean, I'm giving you the example. I'm integrating Salesforce since ages, since they started on the market. So at the beginning, Salesforce as a CRM solution, because they were like giving only the CRM sales solution, and afterwards they grow up a little bit with marketing automation and all the other stuff that they included, e-commerce and all the other bricks that they've added by acquiring different companies. At the beginning, the solution wasn't that cheap, so it was like, okay, a small company in US that it's offering the CRM solution, everything unified. I don't need to have my database there. I don't need to do my requests here. I don't need to build something custom in whatsoever. Today, what I'm seeing, the tendency of big groups, I'm talking about LVMH, I'm talking about Richmond. I'm not talking about like small companies that are having 20 people there. I'm talking about companies that are dealing with thousands of euros or millions of euros of license per year, because they are buying like big licenses, and from there they are splitting in all the brands and everything. I mean, that they are having, because this is how they are reducing a little bit the cost per license by buying in high volume. But still, what I'm seeing today is like, okay, but that cost us this, and still we need to have those computers that need to be changed, and seeing the price of the computer today. And you do have the CFO that is coming and is saying, okay, but I mean, you need to be keeping that much rentability on the capitals. So finally, you need to take a decision. Either you're taking AI fully, either you're buying a new laptops, but both can be done. And I'm seeing already the trend that is coming. I mean, it's not coming that radically as it should be coming, but it's still, I mean, I'm seeing that it's not open bar as I was seeing like 10 or 20 years ago, where in fact, okay, let's just buy the highest computer, let's just buy the highest solution, let's just buy the most expensive one because it's the best one. No, now it's more like cost reductive. And even though, I mean, he's not changing the people or firing the people, it's even if we're talking about machines and solutions, still there is like a trend where, okay, let's just cool down a little bit, because I don't know, in fact, and we don't need to forget, like 90% of the companies that are using AI this is not their core. This is like a support function. So this is not bringing that much value added. I mean, Louis Vuitton, for example, I worked for them like 5 years. Okay, if there is not the guy that is doing the bag in the plant, you can have the best AI whatsoever solution. You will be selling to the client what? The core of the business is not informatics. It's bags and all the other stuff that it's own.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So we need to have this approach and understand a little bit. This is, I mean, as every new technology that came on the market, everyone is like very greedy to have it. And most of the time, when you're going and you're reducing the access to this will create more frustration. And that's what those companies want. It's like you're excluded and you need to pay more. If you want to get it, it's like a privilege in a very private club and whatsoever, you need to pay more. Because already I think that they are not more that much, how should I put it, time to market that they decided to be, because they are investing a lot. Energy is starting to be a problem. GPUs is starting to be a problem. New models that are coming for free and more accessible is starting to be a problem. So their model that they didn't even build, they created the trend, and now people is going into that trend without even thinking that much, because it's like it's hype, it's new, and if I'm not using AI, I will be a has been.
Right.
We're into this kind of dynamic right now. What I'm seeing is this.
I agree. I see the exact same thing. And I appreciate it's so nice to hear somebody calling it out, because I feel like I've been screaming. I've been talking about it for some time now and nobody cares. I'm like, all right, well, you'll see when the costs go up 10x and you can't use the tools you're not. I mean, use it to them.
That's the very simple approach. I mean, software. I mean, let me just take an example. 10 years ago, when you're buying like a Office or a Windows license, you were buying it once. You were paying like $400-500.
You used to own your software was not rented. You could just walk into a Best Buy or whatever, Sears, buy a video game, buy your PowerPoint, your Windows, and it was yours from now until the end of time. Nobody could take it.
And you are having that box in paper that where you're having the license and the CD-ROM and whatsoever, and that was in your house, so no one could take you that stuff. So if you want to reinstall it 14 times, you can have it 14 times, no worries, no problem, and whatsoever. Changing the machine, changing whatsoever, no one was carrying you and asking you why and whatsoever. Today what I'm saying is like I was like of course I'm paying a Windows license because I need to give some solutions to my clients and everything, because I do build some solutions that are based on Windows technologies, unfortunately.
Of course.
And what I was like calculating in between the servers and the licenses and everything, that cost like 10,000 more than before. And the problem is today, the trend, for example, and I will be very finishing with on that point. Just to give you a last example, Microsoft launched their own Linux system because what they realized is in their environment, so Azure system, most of the people that is using Azure servers to virtualize and create virtual machines and everything, what they are installing there is not a Windows server. They are installing a Linux server. So in fact, the problem that we're having today, it's Microsoft is losing money because they are renting you the GPU, they are renting you the CPU, they are renting you the memory, but in fact, you can do whatever you want. And instead of consuming that much, you're consuming less. They launched the Linux like whatsoever. When in the hack, where a company, I'm not getting to analyze the Microsoft history, but I mean, if you're getting and reading a little bit, you'll understand exactly how Microsoft has been built. But I'm not into that polemics for the moment. So we're in the hack a company that it's holding all the licenses and everything. Today they are deciding, okay, I'll do Linux whatsoever because I'm very human and company and I want to do blah blah blah. No, that's the approach because they are seeing that a lot of people it's not anymore into Microsoft. They are seeing a lot of people it's just going away from Microsoft because it's not that good. It's expensive, and once again, I mean, I'm not talking like as a simple user that I'm paying like my license of Microsoft or whatsoever. When you're going into Azure, imagine that when you're receiving the invoice at the end of the year, sometimes you're getting afraid of just opening the PDF to see the amount.
Yeah, like our health insurance renewals. I can relate.
Exactly. Exactly. So from my perspective, I mean, what I'm seeing is like mostly, and I'm discussing with other people because we're not, I mean, I do have like 20 or 30 bodies that are working in different industries, but being consultants at their own and owning their own companies and everything. And what I'm seeing as a trend, at least in Europe, I don't know what, but this will come if it's not the case in United States, but in Europe at least, everyone is giving up on Microsoft. Everyone is giving up on their solution. And the problem today, it's like if they are losing the hardware, they are losing the software, okay, AI whatsoever, Copilot or whatsoever they are. And don't forget once, because you are talking about Anthropic and Musk and whatsoever. Musk wasn't having the logic on the AI. Anthropic, the best, were having the best logic than Musk. And what happened like that? Symbiosis in between the two, symbiosis in between the two, because he is giving the servers, and finally, this is not like a joint venture or whatsoever. This is like, okay, I'll just go in two direction, and instead of getting money from my solution, I will get also money from the renting my server to the other ones. Everything it's about money. Everything. I mean, no one is acting today for the benefit of humanity, for the well-being of humanity. It's like, okay, I can do some money now. This is the right spot where I can act, and from there, I don't care. Even though in 10 years it will be a disaster on the company side, then some companies will fail because of my solution. Who cares?
Right.
No one will sue me. No one will sue me because of this. So this is the trend where we're at, and that's why I'm saying, like, go free, go own your solution, go to Linux, go to open source. What I'm saying to my clients when they are telling me, yeah, but Windows and whatsoever or any other paid solution, I said, listen, I don't want to be that radical and Linux-like guy, but what I'm saying to all of my clients, if you do have a solution in Microsoft, most of the time you will be having a solution in the open source. Maybe it's not that powerful, maybe it's not that fancy as whatsoever in the interface or whatsoever, but it's doing exactly the same job. What do you want at the end of the day? The job to be done.
Yeah.
And the manufacturers are supporting at the driver level now. So with HP and Lenovo shipping so much, and now they're supporting at driver level. I mean, the cut over to Linux is really not that hard. And I personally only cut over the last year. And it was because of Windows 11. And I frankly, I want to install it.
Tom, I completely, I mean, guys, I mean, they are talking about Windows 12 of screenshotting your screen whatsoever. But this is already happening in Windows 11. I mean, I'm sorry to get technical, but I blocked everything. So I simply launched my Windows without blocking all my other applications that were going through the web querying or whatsoever. So simply opening up the window. So starting it up and it's it. And if you're having a software that is analyzing the pings, the UDP and the PDP, PNP, and all whatsoever, I mean, all the traffic that is going from your computer outside, because this is why, in fact, Windows today is saying, okay, don't buy any other firewall because we are having the firewall. Yeah, don't buy any other firewall because you'll see how many connections you do have from your computer without even opening a browser to all over servers that we are connecting, and we're spying your computer. Okay, 4,000 euros for a laptop. In fact, where I'm bringing, in fact, the spy in my house. No, I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to pay this kind of money.
And you cannot turn it off, right? That's the thing.
No.
You can't turn it off.
I mean,
I tried. I mean, I went into the registries and whatsoever, but their solution that is screening is taking screenshots of your applications every 15 seconds or whatsoever. I don't recall exactly what's the time frame. You can't even find it. So it's that much hidden into the stuff, and this is only on Windows 11. I'm not talking about Windows 12, where in fact you are getting your AI into your OS, and this will give them the possibility to spy you everything.
And it'll also give them the ability to force biometrics to even log into your computer. You know, if you're in the EU now, and you look at what they're doing with the BRIC card and all of that, I mean, they're even talking about blocking people traveling into the EU without the biometrics. So that's where they're going to force folks into, these, walled gardens is with the biometric.
And this is why, in fact, I'm saying from my perspective, how you can fight them. It's not like just going and, okay, you launch whatever you want to launch. From now on, I'm not using any more your system. So excuse me the expression, fuck off with your solutions, and I'll be using my system. And from there on, if everyone is doing like this, so they will be standing with their solution. They will be expecting to get the licenses, and no one will be getting those licenses, and they will get bankrupt. I'm not talking about Microsoft because we're not still in the case. But what I'm saying is like the biggest fight that we can have today, it's to get out of their systems or their solution and accepting to be spied and accepting to have intrusion into your private life. Because screening the screenshot, you might be having like your bank account where you're putting your password or whatsoever to a site that you don't want to have it. And for me, this is unacceptable.
Yeah, or if you're a developer like me, and the last project that I did was a HIPAA compliant project, right? And so you know what's on my screen? I'm looking at a database of PIP data, and you're screenshotting that and sending it off my laptop. Now that's a liability for me as a developer, right? It's a security issue.
I'm expert in cryptology. That's my job. At the beginning, that's my automation and cryptology. So for me, what I'm saying is like when I'm coding Linux, I do have two laptops. One I'm using it for I should be saying like not important stuff. And even though this one will be migrated to Linux because it's HP, and I was into like installing a server in the Ubuntu server, and it's like giving me crazy time with the BIOS that it's blocked and all the other stuff. But still, what I'm saying today is like how we can fight this trend. It's simply refusing and finding other alternatives that are free. And from there, we're not giving any more the money and the information and whatsoever. And this is the big hit that we can give them directly, each of us. And this is for me like the biggest prey and the biggest, I should be saying, thought that we need to propagate all over and convince people that there is an alternative, there is a free alternative, and you will be more, you don't need anymore to buy a new ROM, you don't need any more RAM, you don't need anymore to buy a new GPU, because what you're running today will be less consumptions into your resources, more capabilities to do something else that you want. Because it's very fun. I do have like 32 gigabytes of memory. When I'm launching the Windows 11 today, I'm getting like around, I think it's like 25%, so 25 to 30%, it depends. So
Yeah.
I'm using like 6 to 7 gigabytes of my like a fifth of my memory without like activating everything, just simply starting my system on Linux Mint. I'm a fan of Linux Mint, but still, you're using like 2%.
Yeah, and if you're using an AI model and trying to do inference, that 6 or 7 gigabytes, is another model size, right? So
Exactly. And what I saw also today in an article that I'm reading, it's like people is trying anymore because the problem is today that the models have been conceived in a way where in fact you are using the GPU and you are using the NPU and you are using whatsoever. But the problem is today that, as she was saying, instead of having like those two threads that one is going to search and the other one is waiting for the search to get back the contextual response and get back and whatsoever, why not the second thread, for example? It's going and search half of the context, and they are meeting together in the loop, which means in fact that I will be reducing by half my resources, getting a faster response. So what I'm saying today is like the even the cores are and some free sources of AI models are heading into that direction. It's like modifying and improving the resources consumptions in order to make it more affordable to all the machines and not needing that much resources and everything. So that trend will be happening. It's exactly the same as Linux. The problem is Linux was more like for geek because no one was like, okay, I'm not going into terminals, do my sudo whatsoever, AMPT and all the other stuff. But still, what I'm seeing today, it's people, I mean, we are not in the same context as 20 years ago, where Linux was, where 30 years ago when Linux appeared. Today, people doesn't have any more money. And if you do have two children, you do have that not that much income that is coming, and you need to buy two laptops for each children, and from there you're getting like $8,000 for two laptops, or like $2,000 or whatsoever. Yeah, well, you buy a refurbished one like 500, 600. You put in Linux on there, and that will be very fun and very sufficient for what the need of the children is having.
Yeah.
So that will be the trend, because we're not having any more the money. We're not into that expansion of yeah. I mean, for me, paying, even though I'm earning my life quite well, paying 4,000 euros for a laptop, for me it's insane.
And also, if you architected your software and your hardware properly, like my laptop is from 2015. I've had it for 11 years, and it's, you know, it's an i9 processor, which was the top of the mobile class, full of RAM, multiple hard drives, striped SSDs. It's a screamer box for a development machine. Why would I get rid of it? You know, now I basically put Ubuntu on it, and you know it's 30% faster. And there's a lot of compute out there, and you know, because of I don't want to say lazy engineering, but because of the opportunistic engineering and the use of GPUs and the use of floating point math to do the map calculations, you know, there's other technologies when you look at ternary and bitnet and other mapping technologies that make things a lot tighter, a lot smaller, a lot more power efficient. So algorithmically, you know, we're not there yet at the apex of model architecture. We're just using what's available to us, but it will scale down and it will become more efficient, and people will come up with alternative solutions. At least I hope.
Tom, I'm completely agreeing with you, because this is why, in fact, I mean, to be very honest with you, you know, to create my local server, what I want to do is like a P9, 920 from Lenovo, or a P720 from Lenovo. Those are having the Xeon like 20 cores, but they are like end of life in 2021. But those cores combined with a great memory, combined with a great GPU, you don't need that much. The problem today is like everyone is saying, yeah, you need like 2 GB, 14 GB of GPU. No, what for? No, what for? I don't need it. I mean, let me just put it this way. Once again, uh, as I was saying, AI, it's helping me in like doing like some rough stuff, but still I need to go back and have a look and whatever. I'm not into coding with AI without even checking what is happening, because this is not possible. This is not possible. I mean, from my perspective, I do have very complex projects. In fact, I need to connect to SAP. I need to connect with Salesforce. I need to connect to single sign-on. I need to connect to a lot of stuff. So those kind of integrations is not simply, okay, do me an application that is doing like tralala and whatsoever. Yeah, this is fun. It's 5 minutes and whatsoever. When you need to do a seconds in between the calls, when you need to integrate with more systems, when you need to go with O2, when you need to go to single sign-on, when you need to go to a lot of stuff, I'm seeing the limitation of AI. And for example, I'm seeing the limitation of driving, structuring the database with the constraints before. You know, so what I'm seeing is like, okay, it's fine, but it depends on what kind of code are we talking about.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are realizing as developers, and you know what I've realized is there's still that move between trying to orchestrate and trying to conduct, right? And you have to slide back into that conductor role and start reviewing code and sometimes writing a little bit of code, because it's nice that it gets us 90% there, you know, if it gets you that far, but to close the gap and have enterprise, you know, consumer grade software, um, you know, you've got to do a little bit more engineering on top.
I mean, yeah, I was like with the client like 3 weeks ago, and I do have a claim doing application that is mostly a advanced application that is connecting to Salesforce and SAP and some other system that I created like some years ago for Celine. And the client was telling me like, yeah, but I don't understand how you managed to get this amount of hours of developing and everything, because you know there is base 44 and whatever. I said, okay, unhappily for you or fortunately for you, I do have a base 44 account because I'm curious and I created the account and that's it. It's a free account. So you want to create a client link application? Fine by me. Let's just go and say, okay, create me a client link application, put in catalog, put in blah, blah, all the other stuff. Yeah. They created me like a very crappy application. And I asked the client, is this answering to your question, to your need, to your usage? No. So this is what is happening. Today, I need to go and specify field by field in the database. Add me a constraint on this field. If it's not whatsoever, add me a calculation on time to date or whatsoever for the segmentation of the client based on this, do this and whatsoever. So finally, yeah, I'm not coding, but I'm like prompting exactly what I should be coding. So I'm at a higher level. It's like I recall, I don't know if you Tom, if you heard about COBOL, like the language, which is like more scripting, like not putting in. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's the first language I learned in college.
Yeah, exactly. I think yeah, because I was like, when I was talking with people, they were like, okay, you're like old. Okay, that's the first language that I learned. So that's exactly what I'm seeing today. It's not like, okay, I still need to do it piece by piece because otherwise you're creating me enormities. And afterwards, I mean, yeah, you'll do QA based on what? If there are like 15 fields that are required fields that I need into my how should I put it, into my workflow, it's an into functional workflow that they are missing. Still, I need to put it there. So I need to say it, add a field, put a constraint, do this, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's less code for me, but still I need to be assisting that freshman that it's supposed to be the higher intelligence that never one met before. Okay, we don't drop it.
The problem is what this AI system or these systems have enabled is like the worst form of slideware and vaporware, right? Because now you've got, you know, things that look like great prototypes and that look great on the surface, but there's still gaps, and everybody can build it. And I think that's what a lot of people run into. It's that 5%, that 10% gap, and yeah, it looks great, but take it to enterprise grade. So anyway,
And also what I want to emphasize here, it's the volume because when you're creating an enterprise application, when you do have like 1,000, 2,000 users that are supposed to have concurrent sessions in the same time and whatsoever, this is not the same that create me an application that I'm using, for example, to ride my bike and to ride my instead of having like the native software for my Bosch motor and my electrical bike, I need to have another application. Yeah, this is fine. It's one single user and whatsoever. But when you're getting into the dimensioning the servers, dimensioning the stress test, having APIs that are not like getting all overs and whatsoever, having not database that is not cracking and all the other stuff, okay, a human being needs to be there. At least to specify, to put a constraint there. So finally, what I'm saying is like today we are not, we can't be replaced. I mean, an AI today is not able to conceive, I mean, to put a problematic from a functional perspective, saying, okay, I need an application that is doing this, and an AI from what they know, go and propose you everything. And a second very funny situation is like I tried like Claude, I think, 2 days ago, and I asked him what should be the best configuration for a home server. And I want to have like an alternative from DIY, building it from scratch myself, and finding like an existing solution. I saw a lot of proposal and a lot of stuff. And when I'm like looking at the GPU's price and the motherboard's prices and everything, I said, are you sure about the price that you're proposing me? Because those prices are not corresponding with the reality. And I put it like a link to a GPU whatsoever. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Those prices are from 2024. Excuse me. In a project, if you're giving prices on hardware or whatsoever that are like 4 years ago, older, and now they are 4 times more expensive, all the financial scenario of your project is completely down and out of the scope from the beginning. So what I'm seeing today is like none of those intelligence are having this interconnectivity that we do have, and this is coming from experience. Because as a developer, as an engineer, that you're touching everything, you know exactly what you need, you know exactly to how to interconnect stuff. Today they are not able to still interconnect all those pieces together and have like a driven solution that it's observing everything. It's what I'm seeing at least.
Yeah. Hey, Damien, did you want to say something? I think you trying.
Yeah, I'm having a question because I'm taking a lot of information out of this call. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm working on kind of a strategy for companies for AI and also ecosystem. And what I'm seeing is they are in the Microsoft ecosystem and relying a lot of on Microsoft Copilot, Azure, and so such stuff, and implementing it. And I'm asking myself, yeah, right. Is there a solution to that? Yeah, if we want to switch to Linux or save money for the future, Linux at now doesn't have a support like implemented or integrated Copilot functionality, and so do you have a thoughts on that? Yeah, it would be interesting for me.
Rob, should I go first?
You
Do you want?
Yeah, please.
Okay. From my perspective, it's very simple. Copilot, I mean, I do have, as I was saying, I do have like two different environments, one Linux dedicated and one Windows dedicated because of my clients that I do have, and I still need to connect remotely to their machines and whatsoever. And it's more handy, and they don't want Linux because I had a client that told me, I don't want you to contaminate my system with your Linux. I said, okay, you got it all over. Please don't drop it. Okay, I'll use my system. Because he asked me like to do a screenshot of the machine that I'm connecting. I mean, this is going up until there, but still, I mean, I'm not using anything that is coming from Copilot and whatsoever. And the problem today, as I was saying, and Damien, I think that our role, it's also as a consultant, as an external consultant that is normally free of any attachment to any solution. It's to advise the client for its best. And today is like, as I was saying, if tomorrow there is Microsoft that is deciding, okay, I will stop everything and you need to pay, instead of the license that you're paying today, you need to pay 10,000 more or 5,000 more, or I don't know whatsoever. What the client will do. Because I mean, let's just put it this way. From me, this is my approach. I'm tech, but I'm also financial guy. And what I'm saying is like, okay, be dependent on a SaaS solution and whatsoever. I had the period where I was implementing still Microsoft Dynamics CRM on premise. It was a fucking nightmare to implement it. Excuse me the expression.
So was Bistalk. I put it in and then I ripped it out. It was terrible.
But I was having clients, I mean, big insurance companies or whatever, that they were using this system. And I was at that time also with Salesforce, and I was saying, okay, guys, have the comparison. And what finally now I'm thinking of the guy that it was an old guy from that company that was saying to me, okay, I still do have a lot of pain in doing this, but still I own my system. If tomorrow Microsoft is deciding something, I do have my server and I can fully work my solution. I can fully have my activities without depending on anything else, which is the case. And now when I'm thinking of this, it's like, okay, we do have Copilot, we do have a lot of stuff. Yeah, if tomorrow, for example, Microsoft is not simply just going down, it's saying, okay, instead of this, you will be paying this, or no matter, I'm cutting everything. What should be the alternative that's offering to the guy? Because he implemented and he built his whole ecosystem on that solution. That is what bothers me. What I want to offer to my clients is like, you do have the alternative. Those are the risks. Take it into account, because everything is working fine today, but never knows tomorrow what is happening. And putting everything in one single bag, from my perspective, it's a tiny risky in the actual situation.
May I also say something about this issue?
Yeah.
Because we in engineering, we work with Microsoft Windows desktops, because we have SolidWorks, we have other static and engineering softwares, we have calculation programs. We are not going to change to Linux, or maybe to Apple, that's possible, but definitely not to Linux. I don't see that happen. Because even if I personally choose to do so, I could make it work, yeah. But if I am an advisor and I want to give solutions because I was thinking about something like that, to give solutions to implement AI robotics into workshops. They all have Windows, and they are not going to change it because they put 20 years of experience in SolidWorks and programs, and they pay licenses and whatever, and their server and everything is there. So they will stay on Windows, and Microsoft actually is already giving solutions, like they already having like Microsoft governing structure that's also on GitHub, and they also deployed like called how it's called? Wait, one moment. I don't see the name. Codex. Yeah, they deployed Codex, it's called, and that makes ChatGPT integrate, become part of the desktop, and that creates a sandbox environment already on a Windows system today, So they are already moving, Microsoft is already moving and giving solutions to the broader audience. And it's not ideal, and it's definitely better to have your own solutions, but they're for workshops and companies, I don't see them changing to Linux. There's not maybe IT companies and others, but the like the workflow environment that is, from the 90s, 80s Windows, they move slow, and they're not gonna change.
I completely agree with you, but I do have a question, and I do have the question for everyone that is in discussion. Why do you think that Microsoft, that it's a company that never shared a part of a tiny code from anything, I need to integrate with the Microsoft CRM, I need to code in .NET because otherwise it's not working. If I need to do development in Salesforce, it's like a Java whatsoever. It's very, I don't know, it's Apex code they are calling it, but it's Java. I mean, if you know to code in Java, it's exactly the same. But still, why do you think that today Windows is launching their own Linux?
Why that's pretty obvious, because they're losing market share. So they see the danger, and they don't want to lose all their clients.
I completely agree with you, but imagine like a lot of companies. I mean, because I don't know exactly, but I know big companies that are running on Linux all over on Azure system, but still running on Linux. Those companies investing all the integration and investing all the deployments and everything, because Linux is offering for servers possibility of development or automatic development, automatization and everything. I'm not seeing them tomorrow to say, okay, we're buying Azure platform, we're moving to Linux whatsoever. Maybe new companies